Hello and welcome to ResNexus Academy. We're so happy to have you here with us today. And today I'll be talking to you about how you can optimize your business operations with the ResNexus Night Audit. My name is Nathan Mayfield, and I'm the Vice President of Strategic Partnerships. A little bit about myself. I have over 22 years of marketing experience, 13 years of operational experience, and I've worked for companies large and small, from mom and pop design companies all the way up to a large billion-dollar company where I worked closely with the president. You know, I've worked with ResNexus for over 9 years, and I love learning, serving, and helping our clients grow. In addition, I am a member of a Forbes Business Council, and I regularly write articles for them in regards to topics that impact the hospitality industry. I'm also the Vice President of Marketing here at ResNexus. You know, when I'm not at work, I love vacationing with my family. This is my wife Megan, daughter Ava Lee, and my son Mason. We went to Universal in Florida last year and we had a great time. This is us in Gringotts Bank in Harry Potter World. You know, they claim the safest place on earth, except for the giant dragons, I guess, for those of you who are familiar with Harry Potter World. I'd like to start with one of my favorite videos that to me is the perfect example of the power of optimization.
But Holland comes in for a pit stop. Time to refuel and change tires. Lou Moore himself changes the tires. Only 4 crew members, including the driver, are allowed to work on the car. It's a tense time. Holland stays in his seat, anxious to get away. Let's watch. The tires are changed at last. A crewman polishes the windshield as Holland moves away just 67 seconds after he stopped.
Isn't that great? I mean, I love it. All those small steps that over time greatly increase performance. You know, I did notice a difference between the modern day, half a second versus the 67 or 69 seconds it took. They did not wash his windshield. They just took off his tires. I mean, what would we do if we didn't wash the windshield 3 times? Which I thought was funny, but what an amazing example of optimization. But let's get back to today's topic. Let's start with a couple of basic questions, like what is a night audit and how does it optimize your operations? The night audit is an end-of-day sequence that ensures the accuracy of all the financial transactions that have occurred at your property on a particular day. You know, historically, it's called the night audit because, again, it started out historically at larger hotels. And the night audit is called the night audit because historically at larger hotels, the night shift front desk agent, or what we call the night auditor, would account for all the business operations of a given day. This process would usually start sometime between like 11 p.m. and 6 a.m. And the standard practice, which is used by most larger boutique hotels, resorts, and campgrounds, is referred to as an accounting day or hotel day. This is defined as the daily charging period of the property, and it accounts for all the transactions and other guest actions that have occurred on that day. Many of the reports necessary for a night audit can't be produced until the end of the day, until the day closes out, meaning the night auditor has to wait until the clock hits midnight and the property management system switches to the next calendar date. The night audit process closes the books on one accounting day and begins the next one. Performing a night audit helps you prepare the next day's check-ins, check-outs, and collect any payments or outstanding balances. At the end of the night audit process, your property's goal should have a net outstanding balance, which is the previous balance plus debits minus credits. A night audit is responsible for many end-of-day tasks, as I already mentioned, but these include processing guest payments, balancing reports, reconciling cash drawers at the front desk, and more. It ensures that there's alignment between guest status, room status, revenues, transactions and payments, reservations, and invoices. It also allows you to fix and resolve any discrepancies before the next audit takes place. The night audit also helps with keeping accurate statistical data that you can use to generate and analyze reports on things like occupancy, guest expenditure, and revenue metrics such as revenue per available room, or your RevPAR. But one of the most important reasons to use the ResNexus Night Audit process is because it locks data. Most importantly, the financial data. Preventing data changes in the past provides critical alignment between your ResNexus property management software records and your accounting software records. As a result, ResNexus Night Audit helps your accounting experience go from this to this. Bottom line, whether your financial records match, your accountant is much, much happier. And that whether that's you personally or a paid CPA. As James mentioned in his presentation, one of the major reasons we introduced this feature is because of our larger hotels and campgrounds. These properties run 24/7 and have a full-time staff that work in 3 shifts to make up the day. Oftentimes, they also have a full-time night auditor that works the night shift. They might even do a lot of bookkeeping manually, which can be really tedious and very time-consuming. A night audit process is essential to ensure accurate coordination among many departments such as housekeeping, accounting, forecasting, and the start of day staff. But we understand that many of the properties we serve don't have the luxury of passing their work on to someone else. Many are running it all by themselves or only have 1 or 2 people to help out. That's why we made the ResNexus Night Audit process both powerful enough for large-scale operations, yet effectively streamlined for you mavericks out there. So with all this in mind, let me show you how it works. The Night Audit process is available in both the professional and premier editions of ResNexus. To enable it, you go to Settings and type Night, and then select Night Audit Settings. Just for your information, only the GM role and higher, or the general manager role and higher, have the ability to see the night audit in settings. The reason for this is that we didn't want people who maybe have less responsibility to turn on and off the night audit and cause you potential problems. We figured the most likely person doing the night audit would be the general manager or higher. To enable night audit, you simply toggle the switch and select the start date in which you want to start. Once you set that date and complete your first night audit, the ResNexus system will then automatically lock all transactions in the past. In addition, the night audit will require you to do all the dates between the initial start date and today's date. So, for example, if you enable this for December 4th, but the day that you did so is January 1st, 2023, even though this says December 4th, 2022, you would have around 27 days to audit before you were caught up. So when you enable Night Audit, make sure you're doing it on a timely manner or one that you want to, you have time to catch up on the past dates. You can then set the system to flag or highlight transactions with an outstanding balance over a certain dollar amount. In this case, we are flagging outstanding balances over $50. In addition, you can also flag payments or refunds over a certain amount. Again, in this case, I've set the system to flag both payments and refunds for over $250 or more. One thing that's really great about the ResNexus Night Audit is it's very flexible in regards to how many reports you want to go through each day. For the full demonstration that I'm going through today, I have them all selected, but like I mentioned for you Mavericks out there, or if you don't use ResNexus, you want to keep it more streamlined. But for example, if you don't use the ResNexus point of sale till function, then most likely you would turn off the till report. And lastly, if you want the system reminders to complete the night audit each day, you would just toggle the notification setting to on. Once we have enabled Night Audit on the settings page, it is found under Operations Night Audit. Since the Night Audit is an end-of-day sequence report, it cannot run the day's report until it is over. I kind of mentioned that before. So the soonest you or your staff would be able to run the Night Audit is 12:01 a.m. And again, just a reminder, the reason for that is because you actually have to finish the day that you're on, all the transactions and everything. So once it's ready, you simply click the Start Night Audit button. The first report is the departures report. It's one of the few required reports that you can't toggle off because we have to start with the departures. If any of your staff have forgotten to check out a guest, this report allows you to do so. If any of your staff have forgotten to check out a guest, this report allows you to do so. As I previously mentioned, the Night Audit flags the amounts you want it to and highlights them in red. For instance, we have set the system to flag an outstanding balance of over $50. And as you can see, we have tool tips that if you run into what does this do in the Night Audit, you can hover over and it shows it, makes it very convenient. Looks like in this sample, we forgot to check out Melanie Gray. Let's go ahead and do that now. We simply select Checkout on the drop-down menu. One of the other things options that we have built in since I'm showing you this report is the ability to extend a reservation by a day. But again, at this time, we're going to just select the Checkout option and hit the Confirm button. And as you can see here, the guest status is now departed, and we have an audit action appear below on the bottom section of this report. We also allow you on this actions taken on the bottom, you can undo what you've just done. Again, we made it really simple to be able to quickly modify the information. Another thing we tried to do with the Night Audit is to give you easy access to other areas of the system. For example, I can click on the quick link here and see it opens up a new window and pulls up the guest summary for the reservation. But one really cool thing is that once I check out the guest on the Night Audit report, like I did earlier, it automatically checks them in as well if that was neglected or not done yet. So even if it was several days, you see on this example, I checked them out on Thursday, but the system automatically checked them in on Sunday if I had forgotten to do so. Now that we've checked out all of our guests, let's go ahead and move on to the next report. But first, I did want to let you know that we do have a setting that you can turn on or off that will basically require you to fix all the, to check out everybody or fix any departures that haven't been checked out or extended by a day. So we have made that feature so that in the future, if you want, we've made it an option so it's flexible enough for you smaller properties if you want to ignore that, or for a larger property that's more serious about the accuracy of their records. In regards to departures, you can require that you fix everything before you can move on to the next section of the report. And this next report is the arrivals report. And as you can see, you can check in a guest, cancel a reservation, or mark them as a no-show. Let's go ahead and check them in because we forgot to do that earlier today. Once again, we simply check confirm. Once checked in, the guest information disappears and is logged in the action taken section. Like I mentioned before, we can undo that action if we need to. As a reminder for campgrounds who use our automated kind of Wi-Fi utility meter reading functionality, it's really important that you check in everyone every day. Because if you don't check people in, then it doesn't know to start the meter reading to start collecting their energy utility reading. So just remember always to check in your guests if you use that feature. But the great thing is now Night Audit would catch that, and you'd be able to, your Night Auditor would be able to do that automatically, and it would retroactively check them in. Let's move on to the next section. The next report is the room status report. The statuses are the same statuses available on the front desk and housekeeping sections of ResNexus. In this example, I'm going to go ahead and select on change, which means that the guest has departed, but the room has not yet been cleaned and ready for sale. The room status report may or may not show depending on the day that you are doing your night audit. For example, we are doing the night audit for December 6th, 2022. But if you notice, the day that I actually am performing this night audit in this sample was actually the 15th of December. So just to be clear, if you have neglected to do night audit for a couple days or more, this is one report that is skipped. Again, I'll just repeat it. The room status report is skipped. The reason for this is because it means that there's no way of us checking to see what the room status was back in the past, and it's no longer as relevant as it is if you're doing the night audit every day, because this report is meant to be shared between one employee shift to the next, from the night shift to the front desk shift on the next day. So if that day's already come and gone, it doesn't matter as much, and in any case, you're not able to confirm what the status of the room was 14 days ago. Let's move on to the next report, which is retail items. These are retail items that were delivered today. How ResNexus operates is that retail items are sold by delivery date. This report shows the retail items, the amount, as well as any discounts. Below the discount, this report will also show you the staff member who gave them. In this case, the staff member's name is Sales Demo. Let's go ahead and move on to the next report, which is the transaction report. This transaction report is listing the payments for the day. It also lists refunds issued thus far. As mentioned before, the report will flag any payments over a certain amount, and it does so by not only having the exclamation icon, but also by changing the color to red. In this case, Joseph Fabian's payment is over $250, so it's highlighted in that red color like I mentioned. If we scroll down, we can see all the payments collected this day and the refunds issued. It looks like in this case that the guest Michael Denton was issued a 100% refund, while Henry Smith was just issued a partial refund. I can click on the reservation ID and add a payment or issue a refund from the Payments tab found in the guest summary. However, Night Audit gives you an even faster option, a more optimized option. You can select a refund or payment right here from the transaction report. I'm going to click on cancel and not issue the refund today, but by just clicking that refund button, that's what pulls that out. If I was going to perform a refund, then the action section would show what I did, and like I said, I could then account for it or recharge that guest if I needed to. Let's move on to the daily financial report. This is the same information as the daily finances report in the report section of the back office. It shows room, retail, and gift certificate revenue for this particular day. It will also show custom discounts that apply this day. In addition, something that we've added that's brand new is this report provides valuable information such as the past 14 days room revenue, revenue per available room, which is known as RevPAR, available daily rate, occupancy, and tax revenue. The daily financial report will also show the next 14-day information that you have on the books with regards to the same information. All of this information is very useful in seeing how your rolling month is going, what your past performance was, and what your projected on the books performance is. For the most part, this is really a review of the revenue collected today. Again, like other reports, you can scroll down and see the details and click on the reservation ID. And if you click on the reservation ID, you are taken to the reservation summary page. Let's go ahead and move on to the adjustments report. If we have to make an adjustment to the reservation today because it was locked yesterday due to the night audit, those changes would show up here. So basically, this report allows you to audit and keep track of those adjustments that were necessary because the previous day was locked. For example, if the room was switched or a retail item was added to a reservation during their stay, it should have been added yesterday, but you needed to add it today. Other adjustments include taxes charged or removed that day. These adjustments do not include payments that were handled on the transaction report. Rather, this shows the changes to a room that would cause a price difference from the original balance. Let's move on to the tax report. This shows the tax revenue for this day, the tax exempt revenue, and the taxes collected, as well as the taxes due. As with other reports, this shows a full itemized list of taxes collected, refunded, or due, and also provides short links to the reservation's summary page. One thing to keep in mind on the taxes report is that one of the things that the system does as far as reporting it is that if you have taxes over a long-term or ongoing reservation or a lengthy reservation, it does record the taxes that are due that day. It doesn't necessarily bill them for that day, but basically it takes the taxes due and divides it by the number of days of the reservation. And this helps keep your taxes accurate to the daily charge of taxes that you charge to the guest. Let's go ahead and move on to the next report. The account balance report lets you easily resolve outstanding balances. This report highlights reservations that have an imbalance, whether it be needing to issue a refund to a canceled reservation or collecting the remaining balance once the guest has departed. This report is the most important one to reach your goal of having a net outstanding balance for the day. As you can see, you can click the reservation number to easily see the summary of each booking, just like I've showed on every other report. However, the account balances report saves you even more time by allowing you to both add a refund or collect a payment. In this first case, I'm going to issue a refund to the guest, Justin Lafayette. If there were multiple just so you know, if I clicked on the credit card button up there and there were multiple credit card payments that added up to the total of $1,500, this slide-in would list them each individually and you would be able to refund them each individually. But in this case, the guest simply paid in cash, so I'm going to refund it in cash. I'll go ahead and refund this payment. As you can see, that reservation, or Justin's reservation, has disappeared from the outstanding accounts section on the account balances report and now shows below in the actions taken section. Let's go ahead and balance another guest. This time, let's do it with Kyler Hampton. I'm going to go ahead and collect his final payment. So once I click on the Add Payment button, the pop-in appears again in the side menu, and I'll go ahead and collect a cash payment for Kyler's reservation. Again, you see the multiple types that I'm able to collect. I could do a check, I could do a gift certificate, I could do a house account, and I could collect a credit card. And again, once the outstanding balances removes the reservation and shows the payment on the actions taken section below at the bottom. And what you would do is you continue this process until all these guests and all these outstanding accounts are resolved. There are some unique situations in which you might not be able to address all the outstanding balances. The most common that I've run into with other properties, for example, is say someone who has an employee from ESPN come and stay with them under a corporate house account, but they have the policy under that house account that they will only pay a week after that employee has left or departed. So the property can't charge a card on file yet. In that cases, for maximum flexibility, we're adding a setting on this page that will allow you to make it optional and not required to balance out these transactions. In this example, I don't require them to be all accounted before I can move on to the next section. But again, there will be a setting through all of Night Audit so that you can make it required before you can move on, or more flexibility, whatever your property needs. Next is the payments by staff member. This is yet another view of the payments, but organized by staff member. And as you can see in this example, the only staff member I'm currently using is named Sales Demo. And the only payment taken is the one I just did on the previous account balances report. If you have staff members that didn't take any payments as of the day of the Night Audit report, then they appear on the bottom of this particular payments report on the bottom of this section. This report shows you any anomalies with your staff members taking payments. Perhaps there's an individual training issue or a more serious situation you might have to address. But this report will allow you to see those. It will also reaffirm your top performers. Let's go ahead and move to the next section. This is the till report. This is probably a 50-50 whether your property will keep this one on or off. It all depends on whether you use the ResNexus point of sale module that's built into the professional and premier editions of ResNexus. And what it does is this accounts for the cash drawers between staff members for that point of sale module. Basically, it accounts for the time of their shift, the money they started with, how many transactions, and then how much is in the balance. It also accounts for discrepancies. This is very similar to our existing till report in the system and pulls the same data. In this sample, they don't happen to use the point of sale system. So I'm going to go ahead and move on. This is the notes report. It can show both system and staff notes. This is particularly useful for the night staff to follow up on some guest requests made earlier on the day, or on the next shift to remind the morning staff to follow up as well. Guest preferences can be seen here as well, whether they have dietary restrictions or some other item that they've put on the return guest note. We are adding more options to this page so that you can hide system notes and maybe focus more on user or staff notes, so that if you have a lot of notes on this page, it becomes even more easy to navigate. Let's go on to the next report. The payment reconciliation report breaks down all the payments by type. For example, this is super useful because it tells you how much revenue was collected on this day from Visa, from MasterCard, from Discover, from American Express, cash, check, PayPal, or something else. So if there are zero balances in any of these categories, which you see in this sample, then basically they won't appear. That makes this report really effective, efficient, and much less cluttered. As you can see here today, unfortunately, I just collected one cash payment. This is a sample account, and it's not set up to take credit card payments on this. But again, many users of Night Audit love this report because it shows you breakdown by your individual credit card processor. In addition, like the other reports, on the payment reconciliation report, you can also issue refunds here. Or you can click on the reservation ID and add a payment. Another thing to note that you're seeing here is on this particular reservation, it has a locked payment that happened on a previous date. This is probably their initial deposit, which was taken late November on November 29th. But even though this is locked in the past, meaning it's locked it so that the amount cannot change, you cannot edit this, you can still issue a refund. And if you did issue a refund at this point, it would show up on this payment reconciliation report as a negative amount, showing that you issued a refund, and that's what happened on payments today. And again, it would show on the actions report below. Overall, this is another, I didn't actually do it in this sample, so that's why it's not showing up on the actions taken on this report. But overall, this is another view of the payments and another opportunity for you to adjust them. Let's go ahead and go on to the next section. The user reconciliation report allows you by user or staff to see all the charges, refunds, sales, canceled sales for the day. Again, this is more of an audit of your staff to see how they are doing and how they are affecting your revenue for the day. For example, if you had a staff member with huge sales, but then they were all being canceled, you might need to look further into what is happening. There might be some fraud, there might be a training issue, or you might find that you have a large amount of small charges that keep getting refunded, which again might mean you need to optimize your process there or look to see if someone is issuing a refund but then keeping the cash. Bottom line, this report helps you catch things before they become a serious problem, and most often they're training issues. So let's go ahead and go on to the next report. This is the revenue by source report. It's one of my favorites. It shows you the breakdown of where your revenue is coming from, whether it be from your online ResNexus booking engine or over the phone. In addition, it shows you your upsells from retail and gift certificates, which gives a more complete picture of your property. Also, if you have OTAs connected to and you're using marketing channels, which if you're not, I highly recommend that you do, like Booking.com, Expedia, Airbnb, Glamping Hub, Spot Tonight, or any other one of those marketing channels, their revenue will show up here as well. So again, by a daily snapshot, you'll be able to see what they're bringing in for you and give you a really clear picture. In the future, we're going to add a link that takes you to your reservation sources in the back office so that you can quickly add even more sources to this report. For those of you who aren't aware, or for those of you who want more information, you could actually add reservation sources for a while on ResNexus simply by going to Settings, Reservation Sources. And then on this page, you can add more ways that people can hear about you, like TripAdvisor and different things. And like I mentioned before, we want to make it so the report will add it back to the other reservation sources found on the Night Audit. Sorry, found on the revenue sources report found here. Let's go ahead and move on. And last is the finalized audit section. Here we can leave a note about the audit. If we wanted to double check anything, we can simply click on the left navigation links to go back to any previous section of the Night Audit. So again, if I've made changes and I'm like, wait, I need to make sure, see how that payments change I made on the staff members, how that affects maybe my adjustments reports or going back to my transaction reports, you can just simply click on any of those and see how it's affected it and go back and see if any further action needs to be taken. But if we're good to go, we simply click here on the Finish button and this pop-up appears. Just so you're aware, this is the point of no return to make any further edits to today's Night Audit. You know, once we hit confirm, we're done. You cannot change it. The Night Audit will lock the day from any further changes. Just so you know what that looks like on the locking aspect, I wanted to pull up the grid. So here you see that the little gray squares that you normally use to make a manual reservation, or see that they are a light gray. If you try to make a reservation in the past, now with Night Audit, that's not going to happen. You can't make a reservation in the past. That day's locked, and any days previous to that are locked, like I mentioned. But you can make any changes to anything in the future. This is what it looks like on the calendar as well, and it's a little easier to see, as you can see that, you know, all of the rates for, like, say, the queen rooms are $100, $115 in the past, and they're all grayed out. While it's on the right, they're easier to read and they're not as faded. That's again because we've restricted edits on the night audit. Again, you can issue refunds for payments that are done in the past, but that's pretty much all you can do once the night audit locks it. There might be a couple other things that you can do, but the biggest thing that people request is the ability to refund a credit card for a payment that was taken on a previous date in the night audit. All right, we're going to go ahead and select confirm and lock down this date. The night audit then automatically brings up a list of recipients that will get emailed a copy of this report. You can add additional notes if you'd like. Maybe popular, maybe reminding another staff member who's starting the next shift to double check something in the morning, or maybe highlighting an a note for your accountant saying, hey, I had this discrepancy that I couldn't solve or that I see is different in the accounting. Let's work on that so that we can get it more fixed. Or again, to let the accountant know something's going weird with your sales team member or your staff in regards to seeing a lot of refunds issued. In addition, you can exclude someone from getting the night audit for a day by using the toggle, or you can remove them completely by simply clicking on that trash can icon. If you want to add someone, you simply click on the Manage Recipients button, and then you just add their name on the section below. Again, here you can toggle them on or off, or again, remove them permanently if you have old staff members that you need to get rid of. Once done, you simply click on the Send Email button, and as you can see, our night audit for December 6th is complete, and the next day, December 7th, is now available. The reason December 7th is available right now in this example is because the day has already passed. If you're keeping up with night audits, or you're doing them, say, like at 6 a.m. or first thing in the morning, just a friendly reminder that you might have a button that says night audit not ready, and that's because night audit is not ready until the day is complete. That means you have to wait until about 12:01 a.m. so that the day's transactions are finished before you can start the night audit for this date. If you'd like to see the historical data, simply click on the print button, and it will bring up that particular night audit's report in PDF format. As you can see, the PDF still shows your transaction amount flags on the report, but what's even more cool and time-saving is that the PDF report has hyperlinks that open up directly to the reservations in your back office system. This saves so much time for anyone that you have emailed this report to. That is, if they have access to the ResNexus back office. Please note that once again, the system now informs you and your staff, because we're looking at a report in the past, that some actions are now locked. You can issue refunds, but like I've said before, that's about all you can do at this point. And as you can see, the night audit PDF has all the reports that comprise the night audit or end of day sequence. So it's going to be as long as you like, depending on whether you turn off different report sections or not. So it might be a long report like this one, or it might be short. And at the end of the report is a list of all the audits you made during this day while going through the night audit. Super convenient, very optimized, and you know exactly who and what did what when it came to making the edits on the night audit. Okay. Thanks for hanging in there. I know that was a lot of information. So we're just going to take 2 seconds to remember how cool Top Gun Maverick was and how cool you guys are. And hopefully you don't look like Rooster here as a full day. But don't worry, we're almost done. I just want to wrap up with 1 or 2 more items. I wanted to give a shout out to, the first of which is I wanted to give a shout out to our amazing development team. One of the long requested enhancements to ResNexus was the ability to lock past transactions. You might think that was a small thing. It sure wasn't. It meant modifying almost all the reports and many, many functions in the ResNexus system. But what's more is that our development team went the extra mile and made it so that whether you use the Night Audit or not, anyone or you have a lower edition of ResNexus, say Essentials, we've made it so that you can lock past transactions. To do so, to lock past reservations items, simply go to your settings page and click Accounting. Then simply click the checkbox next to Automatically Lock Reservation Items after X days and select how many days you want to be able to edit in the past. The default setting is 30 days that we've done. All new ResNexus users will have this enabled. For you existing ResNexus users, which I would assume all of you are here today at Academy, if you haven't set this, if you want to lock transactions, this is how you would do so, and you'd want to set this up. Then you simply click Save. Just a reminder, if you choose to use the Night Audit function in ResNexus, don't neglect it. The Night Audit is to your property what sleep is to humans. If you put it off, it's going to lead to less optimization. To recap, the benefits of the ResNexus Night Audit process is, one, it's totally customizable. I just showed you the longest possible setting, but no matter your property size, you can adjust it so that it works best for you. The Night Audit reduces human error and definitely improves coordination across staff and departments. It locks past transactions and makes your accountants happy because the records match. It keeps you aware of all that is happening each and every day, and depending on your setting, it will also force you to correct any errors before moving on to the next day. It allows you to access data, take payments, and issue refunds in a matter of seconds. And it automatically shares the reports, which save you time and hassle. Thank you for your time today. I really appreciate it. For those of you who are participating virtually online and seeing this presentation, if you have any questions, please reach out to your red carpet professional or hospitality business coach, and they will help you answer any questions in regards to the Night Audit and help you get started. Again, just want to thank you for your time, and we appreciate that you allow ResNexus to serve your business, and we appreciate you letting us help your business grow. Thank you so much. Have a great day, and have a wonderful Academy.